take a look at the power rankings real quick. Week 8 in the NFL. Let's take a look at the power rankings. I'm pretty sure with Tampa Bay performing the way that they've been performing, going to be seeing a little bit of a bump from them. Well, let's check it out. Bleacher Report's power rankings for week 8. And of course, you got the New York Jets, garbage at 32, hot garbage. They are in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes as we speak. Oh, man. What's that going to do to Sam Darnold's life? That's going to make his Giants too. Giants coming in at 31, 1-6. Another team that you're wondering about what they're going to do with their quarterback. Daniel Jones. I mean, we all remember this, don't we? Think we all remember this. This guy ran 80 yards and decides, you know what? No, I'm just going to give it up. Look at this guy. How do you trip over your own feet? Come on, man. And that is a perfect microcosm. Oh, wait, did I not show it to you guys? I did show it. I think I showed it. Oh, I just clicked off it. But 80-yard run, stumbled all over himself. I mean, that's a perfect microcosm of their entire season. It's just a bunch of false starts, bunch of fumbling around, and that's why these guys are still where they are. They might be looking for a new quarterback before it's all said and done. They already lost Saquon. He's gone with that torn ACL, unfortunately. But Giants not looking good. And the Jaguars. Another team that's 1-6. Hadn't been able to crack 30 on the list. You know, I've said a million times how my perspective is about the Jaguars. Just not being managed the way that you want to manage a franchise that has any intention on being a winner at any point in their franchise history. This is a team that doesn't have much to look forward to. You know, they've sold the Duval community Gardner Minshew. Now, I never really it's not his fault, but I never really bought into him as being that franchise guy just because he doesn't have any weapons that he's really got around him. They're dismantling the entire defense. Well, what is this guy going to do? They're starting to rebuild, and they're selling him as a product for ticket sales, for merchandise, but there's no real intent of this guy being the franchise guy. So now they're 1-6, and they might even fumble away the opportunity of having a shot at Trevor Lawrence, because I have a feeling Gardner Minshew is going to sabotage those cats. He's trying to win every game from this week on out. But moving on, number 29, Falcons. I mean, this picture pretty much says it all, does it not? Doesn't this picture pretty much tell you everything you need to know about these Atlanta Falcons? Can't even win the game the right way. They had some nice uniforms this year. I thought they were nice. I think the uniforms are nice. I like it. It's very Atlanta. It is very Atlanta, their uniforms. I'll say that much. But for goodness sake, you can't even win the game the right way. And this, look, people will jump on Todd Gurley about this. And look, partially, yes, I can understand that. Pile on a little bit, but understand this guy's not a dummy. He's made that play before. His momentum was just, if you watch the play, his momentum, he was being carried forward. He just couldn't stop. And all you have to do is break the plane. The best thing he could have, I mean, there's really, if he couldn't get down, if he couldn't just let himself go down when they tried to tackle him, which they didn't really try. They just kind of tried to keep him moving forward. I mean, best case scenario, I would have thought would be just fumble it. Just fumble the ball. Do something, because you can't have this happen. You know, this reminds me of when I was in Jacksonville. We were playing against the Jets in New York, back when they still had Rex Ryan. And we had this exact situation. We were inside the 10-yard line, and there was about a minute and some change left. And we needed to take a knee. We ran a dive play just so we could just run the clock out. But when we got to the line of scrimmage, the Jets, the entire defense opened up. They lined up in wide shades. The linebackers moved out of the middle, and they just kind of like went through the motions of playing defense. And Maurice Jones-Drew ran right up the middle, didn't get touched. And when he got to the 1-yard line, he slid and took a knee at the 1. And then we just kneeled out the rest of the clock. They were so pissed. They were so pissed. It was hilarious. But that's what, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stop. And he just couldn't. His momentum carried him. Nothing he could do about it. But hey, should have prepared better. You would have done better. Moving on, Houston Texans. Another picture that perfectly encapsulates their entire season at this point. 1-6, nothing to look forward to, nothing you want to look back on. I played against that guy a lot of times. I played against him, I think, at least 6 times, maybe 8. Good player, good dude, and I'm pretty sure he wants to watch this franchise get better, but he probably won't be there to see it. Moving on. Minnesota Vikings, 1-5. This guy, these Vikings, these guys just sent Yannick Ngakoue to Baltimore. Yannick Ngakoue won twice. He got out of Jacksonville, then he got out of Minnesota once they figured out they weren't going to have a good season. These guys are 1-5. They're on a bye week. They're getting ready for a rebuild. Nothing much to see here. Oh, I love stopping on this one. I love it. I love to just look at it because it's hilarious. It's always hilarious. Always hilarious to see the Dallas Cowboys floundering when every year all you hear is how much these guys are going to win the Super Bowl. It's this year. The Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Man, they've been saying that since 1997. They've been saying it forever that these Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to win. How about them Cowboys? I grew up in Dallas. I hated the Cowboys. I was a Niners and Tampa Bay fan growing up. Niners when they had Steve Young, and Buccaneers when they just had that amazing defense. They kept losing every year in the playoffs, but I was a hardcore fan, and they finally made it my freshman year in college. 2002, they won the Super Bowl. Always been a Tampa Bay fan, always been a San Francisco fan. And, of course, I'm a Jacksonville fan. But this is just lovely to see. And I see in the chat, I got my guy 5 Points Vids in the chat. What is going on? 5 points. 5 points. Great time on his show, on their Dumpster Fire show last night. Had a great time. Really appreciate it, my friend. I'll be on with these guys later today on Among Us. Make sure you subscribe to 5 Points Vids if you haven't already done so. Make sure you subscribe to Dumpster Fire if you haven't already done so. That's the kind of co-op channel that 5 Points and Urinate and Tree and their community of guys work on. Love being on their show. Hope to be back on it again. But really appreciate you coming in, man. Checking us out. I'm over here talking Cowboys. These Cowboys, 26th on the power rankings. I think that it's clear to see that the fire sale has begun in Dallas. They're starting to get rid of pieces, get rid of players. Now, a lot of people will talk about the John Bostic hit on Andy Dalton. I think it was a low blow of a hit. I think it was a dirty hit. But are any of us really surprised that these Cowboys are in the position they're in right now? Are we? I don't think we are surprised. Why? Because we saw this coming with Mike McCarthy. I think we all saw this coming with Mike McCarthy. And then you have players leaking out information from within the Cowboys saying they just aren't good at their jobs. This right here. Once somebody says something like this to the media, it's pretty much over. I think it's pretty much over. I think Mike McCarthy, if the Cowboys continue to stink it up the rest of the season, I'm willing to bet that Mike McCarthy gets fired by the end of the season. But things are looking bad for the Cowboys right now. Now, let's go to Denver Broncos. Yeah, it looks like a cold, desolate land of nothingness in Denver. Not much of anything to talk about in way of what that team is even doing. So unless you're a huge Denver fan, we're going to keep right on moving right past them to the Bengals. Now, the Bengals, 1-5-1. Joe Burrow's finding out what it means to be an NFL quarterback on a bad team. And you know what? I like this guy. I really do like Joe Burrow. I like what he's doing. I like how he's playing. You know, these guys are, you know, they're not going to get it done this year. We all know that, but it's good to at least see him going out there and playing and doing what he can do. Now, one thing they got to be worried about with him, big time, injuries. That's why, for me, as if I was a head coach, Joe Burrow wouldn't be playing. He would not be playing this season. Andy Dalton would still be in Cincinnati. He'd have a lame duck season. See what he can do. You know, maybe, you know, he's definitely, you know, giving him a chance basically to put some film together for one last season for free agency. But definitely would have sat Joe Burrow and allowed him to have his first starts with a team that's decent enough to be better than they are right now. Washington football team, 2-5. They just got done shellacking the Cowboys. You know, this isn't even a good team, but they're showing a little something to build on. I'm sure Ron Rivera is going to be trying to find the right pieces that show themselves throughout the course of this season, so that he can build on that and create a bigger or a better core group of football players for their team next year. Eagles, they're running around without their helmet off. They're trying to figure it out. You know, they beat the Giants, but come on, guys, let's be real. That game was way too close. They should have blew out the Giants. It is what it is out there in Philly. They're having a rough one. Detroit, this is actually a little bit surprising to me. Maybe it's because of their schedule. Maybe it's because they've got a little bit of ease of use here. But Matthew Stafford is playing well enough. This team is at 500 right now. Not something that I definitely would have expected after the first couple weeks of the season. But I've always had a belief in Matthew Stafford. I don't know what it is. I just feel like he's a Brett Favre kind of quarterback for some reason. I just feel like he's on a bad team. He's on a franchise that just cannot find its way. And the messed up part about all of this is that Matt Patricia is going to get another year if he keeps doing this. He's kind of doing himself. Oh, man. Oh, I feel for the guy. I feel for him. But the Lions are at 21 on the power rankings. They're finding some things that are clicking. You know, they're doing some things. You know, maybe not winning the way that one would hope. I mean, they definitely lucked out against the Falcons again, but who hasn't? You know, this guy took him down the field. Matthew Stafford, you know, took him down the field and won the game. I mean, what more can you say? What more can you say? I don't think that you can really complain. I just know that in the long run, kind of hurting their future prospects with Patricia. Number 20, we got New England. We've gone over this with Cam Newton, this whole situation, how everything could fall into place for him or could fall apart the rest of the way for the Patriots. Bill Belichick, you know, put his stamp of approval on him, backed him up. And after 98 yards and 3 interceptions, we're going to see if Cam Newton's going to bounce back from that in their next game, in their next outing. We'll see how that goes. 19, Chargers. I'm high on this guy. This guy right here. This guy is going to be big. He's going to be a big star in this league. He is playing out of his mind. This guy is he's the real deal. Young passer, too. Young passer. He's already got over 1,500 yards passing and a passer rating over 100 in his first 5 career games. That should tell you all you need to know there. 18, Panthers. I think the Panthers are actually, they're making some moves. They're making some moves. They lost New Orleans, but they were competitive. New Orleans has kind of figured things out now. They're moving in a good direction. The Panthers are trying to keep momentum. But this is a team that could potentially surprise us down the road. Don't hold your breath, but they could. Las Vegas Raiders, same situation. This is a team that I feel like could surprise some folks. They're building it the right way. They're getting some good production out of their players. They obviously they got beat by Tampa. We know that, but this is a team that has some upside. We're starting to see some nice things coming out of them. Number 16, 49ers. 49ers got a winning record, and they're beaten and battered. And they've still got a winning record thanks to the Patriots. But George Kittle, obviously, huge part of that. We all know what he brings to the table. 49ers trying to keep things moving. Number 15, the Dolphins. This is one where I think this is a crucial position right here for the Dolphins. They're 3-3. They're at 500. They're making a quarterback change. I don't agree with the quarterback change. I don't agree with it. I think that these guys should be keeping Fitzpatrick out there. They're putting Tua Tagovailoa in. They're putting him in a situation that can either end up going really good or really bad. And I think that you should know better than that if you're an NFL GM. This guy right now, this team is at a point where a couple more wins and they're 5-3 with Fitzpatrick. And now they're talking about the division and they're talking about the playoffs. But you're changing your team's chemistry. You're changing your team's energy. You're potentially changing your team's momentum when you bring in the rookie out of Alabama, first round top pick. I feel like it's a dangerous thing to do. I feel like this could come back and bite them very badly in the ass. And they got a bye week here. So, they're going to feel as if, he got an extra week to prepare. But he's still, who are they going up against this week? We'll see here. I'm going to go through this one real quick because I really want to see Miami succeed. And I want to see Tua succeed. But I think that they're setting him up for what could be failure. It says despite 3-3 record that puts Dolphins squarely in the mix in both the AFC East and the wild card hunt, Miami somewhat surprisingly decided to make a switch at quarterback when the Dolphins next take the field against the Los Angeles Rams. In week 8, Tua Tagovailoa will be the starter under center. The move raised eyebrows given how well Ryan Fitzpatrick had been playing, but head coach Brian Flores said it was the right time to make the move. We just felt it was the best move for the team to make right now. No, I just don't understand that. I don't understand how that is the best move to make. You've already made all the best moves. Things are going swell for you guys. That's how we're going to move forward. Given that making the switch at the bye gives Tagovailoa an extra week to prepare, there is a logic to the move. And while Fitzpatrick admittedly balled out for the Dolphins this year, he's not the future under center in Miami. Tua is. See, that's the problem. That's the problem right there, is that these guys are allowing themselves to have a knee-jerk reaction to the hype train that Tua has been put on by people around the team, by people, from the outside, by the media, by the fans. Like, you guys are 3-3. You don't fix what's not broken. It's not broke. Don't fix it. Keep Fitz in there and allow him to keep the momentum of the team going. Allow him to keep the momentum of the team going, because Tua is learning more and more from this guy. Let him continue to learn. Give him a season to sit. Make sure his body is 100% without any doubt ready to go for 2021. This year, you were looking at as a wash to begin with. So let Fitzpatrick control the team see what you guys can make of it. If you guys make it into the playoffs under a Fitzpatrick at quarterback, imagine the kind of hype that Tua's going to have next year. Because Fitzpatrick knows that it's Tua's town. It is. He knows that. And even if he makes it to the playoffs, I'm sure he knows that the scenario will play out with him being the backup or being traded or, something of that nature when the next season comes around. But let it just be the year that Tua learns how to be a professional, learns how to play the game the way that Fitzpatrick is showing him how to play and the way that his coaches are coaching him how to play. And then on a more personal side, don't screw over the guy who's gotten you to where you are. You're screwing him over. You're screwing him. He knows it. He feels it. You guys are screwing him over. And to me, if that's what they're going to do, then, they're not showing him the respect or the honor that he deserves as a veteran player who has played at a lot of teams in this league and has done a lot of good things for a lot of teams. They're not showing him his respect. I think that's wrong. I think he deserves to be treated better. And if they better at the very least be tossing him an extra $500,000 on his contract this year, because that's wrong what they did to him. But let's move on.